deceit, give me truth. Told what to believe, give me truth. Don't need no theory, I just need proof. Your answers are an answers, never freeze, nothing new. I'm sick of this.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 39 of Revival Radio. Rich Steve in the building.
Dolan in the building.
Brain cell, baby.
Welcome back, everybody. Back at it again. Once again, here we are with Dolan. How you feeling tonight, man?
I'm feeling good, man. Glad to be back.
How about you, Brain Cell? You feeling good tonight?
Does it look like I'm feeling good tonight?
Everybody, I want to welcome you to episode 39, and we got a doozy for you tonight. We are going to be talking about April 15th, 1912, the night the Titanic sank.
Yeah, boy. What else are we going to be talking about? Get a little bit more specific.
The thing that's interesting about the Titanic is everybody has this idea from the James Cameron movie about what happened. They have this idea that the ship set sail, it struck an iceberg, it sank with 1,500 souls that went down to Davy Jones' locker.
We've heard the narrative.
But what we're going to present to you tonight is that possibly, for your consideration, did J.P. Morgan, somebody that we've talked about multiple times, actually sink the Titanic for insurance and to start the Federal Reserve?
Very interesting, man. I hope you guys stay tuned.
It's definitely going to be a good show tonight, man. We did a lot of research for this one, man. Especially, I did. I watched a lot of shit. I'm ready to go.
It's fun, man. Like, I hope you guys take what we say here every episode of Revival Radio. And I want you guys to do your own research, man. Don't take our word for it. And especially don't take the mainstream narrative's word for it.
Fuck no.
You know what I mean?
Fuck no.
We got no nectar tonight.
But we are drinking on a past nectar, the Nugget Nectar, Triple Flames for me right here.
Triple Flames, boy.
Nugget Nectar.
But I think that it's cool if we get right into this week's Prole of the week. Week.
Yeah.
Brain Cell, who you got?
We got our homie Garth, Cultivator.
What's up, Cultivator, Garth?
This dude, we were talking recently, and he's going to send us out a little care package.
Yo, Garth Cultivator.
For Revival Radio.
Garth Cultivator is somebody that we personally have been fans of for a minute now.
Probably 10 years, something like that.
Easy, man. I remember we went to go see Head one night, and Potluck was playing there, I believe. And because of that, we were talking about Garth Cultivator. We found him in a High Times magazine from back in the day while we were getting ready for the show.
Straight OG. Been active in the cannabis community out there in Humboldt County for since the 90s, probably before then.
Humboldt.
I got a little biography from his website if you guys want to hear it.
Tell the people.
Mr. Garth Cultivator is an underground hip-hop artist hailing from Northern California's infamous Humboldt County.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Light it up. He has been making rap music for more than 15 years with over 6 solo albums and multiple group albums to his credit. You know, all that shit with Potluck, the Dank alumni.
Love it, man.
His music paints a vivid picture of life within the Emerald Triangle, and through his voice, the listener experiences the everyday grind of this solo artist. Marijuana culture is an obvious component of his songs, but his ganja tales are balanced with lessons that are surprisingly real and truly honest. They offer the rare glimpse of an MC whose verses document the struggle behind the hustle.
Hell yeah.
Got Vader. You can check out his website. It's called danksterism.com. I'll put that on the screen for you. I'll put a link in the description below.
Dude is a certified legend. Thank you so much, man, for all that you've given to the community. The hip-hop community.
Dank alumni certified right here.
The hip-hop community, the cannabis community. You are a legend, man. It is our honor to make you a Pro of the Week this week, man.
Cheers, my brother.
Cheers.
You know, he's a subscriber. He watches us, Revival Radio. He digs our shit.
Triple Flames, son.
Triple Flames, boy.
So, now that we got that out of the way, I think we could get into a break real quick. When we come back, I want to really start to dive into this. I want to talk about, some predictive programming possibly went on.
Hell yeah.
The origins of the ship, how it might not actually be the Titanic that sank. There's a whole lot to uncover here. So why don't we go into a Garth Cultivator track? We come back, we'll get into it. Revival Radio, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Hello, boys and girls, get ready to dab all day.
Dab all day. Yeah, I wake up, blaze up, shatter like it matters. Fuck it, life is good. I dab all day. If you grow like me, then I hope you would. Don't be misunderstood. Everybody wants to get what they could. Blasting wax, purging hash, make some slabs and then we should heat that rig, hit it really quick. Smoking big, we do it well. Clads all thick, everybody knows when I roll through for show and tell. Can't you smell? Lemon drops, cookie crumble. Get my tray, get my pen, get that taste. Wake and bake and dab all day. Dab all day. I stay so high that they can't bring me down. These haters try to meet me on the ground. But even then I push them all away. No time to waste because I dab all day. I keep my rig heated and dab all day. I stay so heated when I dab all day. It's no secret I love to dab all day. I know you need it, so let's dab all day. Oh yes, I'm smoking good, growing great. Push that weight and dab all day. They can hate, tell the truth, who gives a fuck what they all say? Get it straight, I'm the one who came through with that weed I grew. Came through with that wax I blew. Came through just to blaze with you. Dab a few, the screw is hot. Bitch call me Sir Dab a lot. Blast my crowd, hit it with a torch, of course I'm high like astronauts. Up in space, dabs to the face that tastes like some creme brulee. Who needs a doctor when the cure is just a dab all day? I stay so high that they can't bring me down. These haters try to meet me on the ground. But even then I push them all away. No time to waste because I dab all day. I keep my rig heated and dab all day. I stay so heated when I dab all day. It's no secret I love to dab all day. I know you need it, so let's dab all day. Dab all day.
And welcome back to Revival Radio, episode 39.
Yeah,
It's your
yeah.
boys.
Yep.
We're chilling here. We're kicking back. Well, I just want to say a little happy birthday to my friend, the Creationist Cat. You little fuckboy. We'll see you out there. We'll get to you at some point. But right now we have a more pressing topic. We want to talk about the Titanic, man.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
And
sir.
this all starts, in my opinion, with a novel from 1898 by Morgan Robertson called Futility, The Wreck of the Titan.
Okay.
Wreck of the Titan.
Titanic.
This kid loves titans and like giants and shit.
Yep.
But it detailed the sinking of an unsinkable ship called Titan, the largest ship afloat.
Yep.
which collided with an iceberg in April in the North Atlantic, which resulted in a high loss of life due to there being too few lifeboats aboard. 14 years later, April 1915, right?
1912.
1912. The Titanic recreated what happened in the novel.
You want to know something
So
else that's
ironic.
interesting about that book? The captain's name was Captain Smith in that as well.
You want to hear?
What?
You want to hear
Yes.
something else ironic?
What?
The man died the author of this book died
did.
a couple
That's
years
what I was about
after
to get to. On March 24th, 1915, Morgan Robertson was found poisoned to death in his hotel room in Atlantic City.
Do you know what they were showing on the ship the night of the Titanic disaster?
What were they showing?
They were showing an early silent film adaptation of that book.
You're joking, right?
No, I'm dead serious.
Yo, what the fuck? This whole story, throughout our research, we realized that, yo, this is a fucking good conspiracy to talk about,
It's
man.
an interesting one.
There's
man.
a lot of good shit in here. There's a lot of synchronicities and coincidences.
So there's your predictive programming, something we've talked about previously.
Right.
This is getting it out into the
We all know it's
consciousness.
real. It's been going back forever.
Right. So next on the list is the RMS Olympic.
Yep.
It's another ship from the White Star Line, which parent corporation was the International Mercantile Marine Company, owned by J.P. Morgan.
J.P. Morgan.
So J.P. Morgan owns this ship.
Banker.
It costs upwards of like $3 million, same with the Titanic. And it's virtually identical with the Titanic. Keep
Yes,
that
it
in
is.
mind.
They were actually, I don't remember the specific number, but they were made one after each other, like ship 349 and 350.
400 was the Olympic and
At
401
401
was the Titanic.
So they were right after
The
each
Olympic was first built. It had the longest career, running 24 years, 1911 to 1935. And then it sank. Oh, wait, no. The other ship, the Britannic, which is the third one out of these three ships, sank after an explosion after it struck a mine in 1916. So I find it kind of funny that a lot of these ships are sinking here.
Yeah. And it's a common occurrence.
2 out of 3.
It's a common occurrence, too, with the White Star Line with Captain Smith. But I'll get to that in a little bit when we talk about him a little bit more.
All right, so next on my list is the Hawk collision, which is on Olympic's 5th voyage. She collided with a British naval cruiser, HMS Hawk, resulting in 2 large holes in Olympic's hull due to how the HMS Hawk has like a battering ram attached to the front of it for like
Exactly.
the sole purpose of sinking ships.
It was a warship, so it had that in the front.
2 crew members, Violet Jessup and Arthur John Priest, survived not only the collision with Hawk, but also the sinking of Titanic and the Britannic. That is fucking crazy. These people were on board for all that shit
That's crazy.
and survived.
Yeah, dude.
Just like crew members. Not even rich people. Because
No.
you know how the rich people
Yeah.
survived on the fucking
Yeah.
Titanic, of course.
Yep.
So,
That's always the case.
some more shit on here. We have the Royal Navy blamed the Olympic for the collision, alleging that her displacement of the water generated a suction that pulled the Hawk into her.
Yeah, which is funny because the way that it happened was nothing like that at all. Like, it was in a little inlet type thing, and it just fucking... It was designed to be fast. This was a speed ship. The Olympic was a slow steamer. So, it was on the Hawk to turn. But it made no type of evasive maneuver.
Right. So after that, a legal argument ensued, and the White Star Line was faced with a large legal bill and the cost of repairing the ship.
It was also forced to pay the cost of repairing the Hawk as well. So now let's imagine for a second that we're J.P. Morgan. We are a capitalist who's obsessed with the money that we make, who will do anything to keep the money that we make. They have this ship that was supposed to be beautiful. It just got fucked up. They try to make their claim on the insurance to Lloyd's of London, and they tell them, no, there's no way that we are going to pay for this. Mm-hmm. So now we have a little bit of a dilemma for what's JP Morgan to do.
Right. So, another quick little fact is on 2 separate occasions, various parts were switched from the Titanic to the Olympic.
Exactly.
They're basically identical, remember?
So the idea that he had here, what we're going for a theory that we're going to first present, comes out of that. For a 3-day period, the Olympic and the Titanic were right next to each other. Besides that, for around 7-week period, because there was a coal strike in 1912 that caused most of the ships to stop running, they were in the same yard. Here's JP Morgan. He's looking at this debt that he has now, and he says, if I were to switch the ships, if I take the name tag and all of this stuff off of the Olympic and put it onto the Titanic, and then I send the Olympic out as the Titanic, and it sinks, I can make an insurance claim on the Titanic.
Makes sense to me. I mean, it doesn't, like, that's probably what I would do, you know?
Definitely.
It doesn't take a fucking rocket science to figure that shit out.
One thing that's interesting about that is that around a week before the Titanic set sail, they actually made an adjustment to their insurance policy that they had. The original policy was 75% would be paid by the insurer, while 25% would be paid by White Star. So what they did was submit this new thing saying that we have a case of Fabergé eggs in the hull. We have, new staircases that we built, this, that, and the other, which took the original value, which was appraised at $2.8 million, to above $3-4 million. So when you average out the 75% versus that, it comes to be around $3 million, the cost of the ship. So he has no loss anymore.
No loss, only gains. People like that, man. The rich get richer and the poor get poorer.
Exactly. And you said the Olympic was the longest running at the time after that. Well, if the Titanic was supposed to be this monster ship that was unsinkable, wouldn't it make sense that it then continued on for so many years?
It would.
It was a good ship.
Something interesting about JP Morgan while we're on the subject is he booked a VIP ticket but canceled last minute on the Titanic.
Yes, he did.
Just as his friend Milton Hershey did, and who was his other friend?
Henry Clay Frick, who was the right-hand man of Mr. Carnegie, the steel baron out in Pittsburgh.
So, I mean, that gives credit to that these people knew what was going to happen beforehand.
Also, Marconi, the inventor of the radio, had installed his brand new radio into the Titanic, which wound up not working. He was also supposed to be on the voyage and then got off of it before it even started.
Prior knowledge, man. These people are fucked up.
Of all of the people who were supposed to be on the ship and then didn't show up, the highest percentage comes from the first-class passengers. So
let that sink in, and we'll be right back to continue discussion on the Titanic.
Revival Radio.
Episode 39.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 39. Be sure to click subscribe. Shout out to all the new subscribers.
We lost a subscriber, and fuck you, whoever you are, you pussy.
Rich Steve, Dolan, Brain Cell, CMASS in this bitch.
We tell it like it is here.
We talking about the Titanic. We've talked about some of the people who survived because they didn't get on the boat. But Dolan, tell me about some of the people who didn't make it out.
Okay. These 3 gentlemen. Sorry.
Benjamin Guggenheim.
My phone got locked. Benjamin Guggenheim, Isidore Straus.
Mm-hmm.
You know who Isidore Straus was? He was the head of Macy's at the time.
Okay. Yes, that's true.
That's exactly.
That's true.
I forgot about that. And last but not least, John Jacob Astor the Fourth.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. That's my name too.
These three guys.
Who are these guys, man?
These three guys were very wealthy men.
They were combined worth
of $11 billion in today's money.
Man. What else were they?
These three gentlemen coincidentally happened to oppose the creation of the Federal Reserve.
Right.
Who J.P. Morgan was a big advocate of passing that.
J.P. Morgan, John D. Rockefeller, Carnegie.
You know all these familiar names.
So all three men opposed the Fed, and all three men died on the Titanic, is what you're saying?
I'm about to get into that.
Go on.
J.P. Morgan encouraged them to go into the Titanic, obviously. J.P. Morgan suddenly felt ill right before the Titanic set voyage. Just so coincidentally.
Yep, we talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. J.P. Morgan's friend also coincidentally canceled his trip. We talked about that.
Yep.
Frick.
And Hershey.
White flares were used instead of red flares.
Now here's an interesting note. Here's something that is a little bit contentious. Because that is something that we could not find 100% fact on, because multiple stories come into that.
We do our research.
It's very conflicting.
We fact check shit.
I want to kind of get into that a little bit more later when we talk about the vessels that were nearby.
Could we get into Captain Edwards?
Let me say one more thing about the Federal Reserve before we get too far away from there.
Yeah.
With its main opposition eliminated, the Federal Reserve was born in 1913.
Yes.
Do you have anything to say about the Federal Reserve?
Fuck the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, because that is like solely the one reason why we are all of us, black, white, Asian, we're all slaves.
The Federal Reserve
right now.
The Federal Reserve, the only thing that's federal about it is its name. It says Federal as Federal Express.
Privately owned.
It is a group of private bankers that control the monetary system, but that's a whole other episode.
Talk to the people, boy. Yeah, episode 40. Next episode.
Should we get into?
So get into Captain Smith over here.
According to my sources and the things I researched, the credible sources.
Dolan's got sources.
The credible sources I researched.
Sources for Dolan, man.
Captain Edward Smith had a notorious reputation of having safe voyages and.
Who told you that?
Yeah, who told you that? The Illuminati? Because
the Illuminati.
That is not fact. Let me give you just a quick rundown of a few of Captain Edward Smith's accidents that he had. Because
I don't believe it.
No, because this is good. It's part of the narrative, man.
Did you know Captain Smith?
Yeah.
Personally.
The fact is, people it's good for the narrative. If people believe that this was a great captain who had done this, that, and the other.
Honestly, I saw that in my research.
They portray him, even in the Titanic movie, as being this great.
But what happens when you go and do your research and see what actually fucking is?
A couple of accidents.
We honestly
he was a captain on the Republic. Which these are all White Star Line ships. All White Star Line and an IC. Olympic, Titanic, so...
Britannic.
The Republic. It set aground in New York, meaning it left the water and ended up on land. 3 people killed in a boiler accident on board that ship the same day.
I stand
1890, corrected. He set a ship aground in Rio de Janeiro. 1901, when he was the captain of the Majestic, there was a fire on board the ship. 1906, a captain of the Baltic, there was a fire on board the ship. Let's talk about the Titanic, which also had a fire aboard the ship.
I want this dude to be the captain of my ship.
For real, if I'm trying to cash in, if I want to kill some of my Federal Reserve opposition, and I'm trying to get the money back for my ship that I fucked up already, I'm getting Eddie.
Let me ask you this: Do you think he was in with J.P. Morgan? Maybe this captain.
Probably.
Yes.
He was a nephew. He was a nephew of somebody higher up in White Star. That is part of how he got the job. Real quick note about the fire on the Titanic. The fire was actually in the coal heap down in the boiler room. This is fact. It was discovered while they were still in Ireland, Belfast and all of that stuff, before they went on some of their first stops, before they continued. Yeah. But they figured that if they waited long enough, because it was inside at the bottom of the heap, the smoldering coals, that if they waited, they could probably get to New York and be in shallower water to rescue people. So they were told to keep going, even though they had this fire.
Are these people fully retarded?
They must be,
There's a fire in your coal heap.
Yes.
Which is fuel for fire.
Yes. And you have
And what
places.
do? They say, full speed ahead, boy. Let's go.
You have places you can stop. You still have stops on the route. But no, fuck that. Full speed ahead. Anything else you have, Dolan?
1 second.
Go ahead.
What you got?
Make sure you hit subscribe, like, and comment.
Hell yeah. Shout out.
Stay tuned for episode 40 where we're going to talk about the Federal Reserve.
Rockefeller.
Possibly the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds.
After this whole conspiracy with the Titanic.
Yeah.
The following year, the Federal Reserve was created.
Exactly.
Yep.
I think it all comes back to that.
I think it definitely does. Braincell, what else you got, man?
The Titanic, we talked about the flares. You want to get more into the flares?
Yeah, I do want to definitely get into the flares.
Let's get into the flares, man.
Now, in the area surrounding the Titanic, let's just go through real quick the narrative. Once it got into the North Atlantic, it hit an iceberg. It's sending out distress signals. It knows it's going down. In the area around it were 3 different ships. You had the Californian, you had the Carpathia, and you had the Samson. Now, the one that we mostly hear about is the Californian and the Carpathia.
Yeah, right.
The Samson was a sailboat that was only 7 miles away from the Titanic. They saw the flares as well, but they didn't want to go and assist in any sort of way or make any kind of radio calls
because
they were a seal ship. They were
illegally fishing.
Now, you have the Californian, which did see the flares, as you said, but they only saw the one flare. They saw the white flare. The way that they were told to do it, because it was a White Star Line, was to send out a red, a white, and a blue. The white and the blue were identifiers for what the ocean liner was, and the red was the distress.
So they would send out a red. We're in distress. And then a white and a blue to say, oh, the Titanic's in distress.
Exactly. So the Samson was in between. Here's Titanic, here's Samson, here's Californian, and it's blocking some of the flares. You're just seeing the white from here, and you think it's just, they're shooting things off. You don't think this is distress. Yeah,
because that's what they're used for. They're used as like fireworks to entertain and shit because they're different. The socket charges, I think they're called. They go up, they explode, and then they rain down.
It looks cool.
As a fountain of fireworks. But what you're really supposed to have in an emergency is like rockets.
Yep.
Red fucking going up.
Yes.
You want me to bust down some Titanic facts?
Yeah,
Do we have a couple minutes here?
We have 2 minutes here.
Okay, so the Titanic, no red flares on board is what my research says.
Okay.
But we already established that might not be true.
We don't know.
But what we do know is that the Titanic had the least amount of lifeboats required by law.
Yes.
20. She used 18 of them, which can carry 1,100 people, 1,200 people. The first lifeboats that they dispatched when the Titanic was sinking only carried 28 out of 64.
That's crazy.
There were 700 survivors and 300 bodies recovered from the water. Out of 2,208 passengers, 1,503 lost their lives. The ship Carpathia, which you mentioned, picked up 675 survivors, mostly women, children, and guess what? The wealthy.
Rich. Yep.
So I think right now we're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about the SS Californian.
Be right back.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
And welcome your fucking bitch asses back to Revival Radio 39.
That's not how you treat your fans.
I know. They know I'm just kidding, but I'm talking to the haters out there because we see your asses too.
Yeah,
but we're about to fucking talk some more about the Titanic.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about this coal strike.
Yeah, definitely. This is an interesting note for the whole thing. This coal strike that was going on at the time pretty much grounded almost all of the ships.
Right.
You have to imagine this is 1912. This is right at the peak of European immigration. Over to the New World. You had Eastern Europeans, you had Italians. All of them were really starting to come over in the early 1910s.
You know, like something I noticed in my research is like the biggest ship before the Titanic and the Olympic.
Mm-hmm.
You know what it was powered by?
No.
Fucking sails, bro. It had sails on it. Can you imagine? Imagine the Titanic with sails on it plus those smokestacks.
Yeah. Oof.
That's what these Johns look like. And then fast forward another 10, 15 years, we got all these new inventions.
Got steam
They're fucking,
power.
you know, like the Titanic, they were only using 3 of the stacks for the ventilation, and then the one stack in the front was used for like all this other shit, like the kitchen smoke and shit, and then like a little bit of ventilation, but then they would use that to turn a turbine, which powered the main fucking propeller.
Okay.
Which is like tight as fuck in my mind.
So we have this coal strike, so most people aren't able to immigrate at this time. When the Titanic was being advertised to come on board, talking about all of the massage parlors and the tennis courts and the movie theaters and all that shit, the capacity was over 3,547. How many did you say
that
were on
doesn't
board?
fucking add up to what I had. I had 2,208 passengers out of
over 3,500 that you could have. So you're telling me that all of these people who are clamoring to get to the New World, they want to get out, they've had this extended period of time to save money, and now here is their opportunity on the best ship that has ever been built, and they weren't able to fill it to capacity.
the unsinkable ship.
The unsinkable ship. not
sunk
even
on its
filled.
main voyage.
It's fucked up, man. It's really fucked up.
It's laughable at all the shit that we're presenting to you right now, because I don't know about you guys, but I don't believe in coincidences anymore.
No.
Me neither.
Not at all.
Everything happens for a reason, and guess what? If you follow the money, you're gonna get to the truth, boy.
Follow that money trail.
How does someone stand to gain from what just happened? Okay, go from there. And you're going to find out a whole lot more than what the fucking media tells you, what the internet tells you.
Facts.
It's crazy, man. So tell me a little bit more about the Californian.
The SS Californian. Yet another ship owned by J.P. Morgan.
Boom.
Best known for its inaction during the sinking of Titanic, despite it being the closest ship in the area. Officially. It's been reported that its cargo would have been useful for an attempted rescue. Items including life vests, blankets, and sweaters. Which, again, is unconfirmed.
Yes, it is.
You cannot fucking go and look up the cargo manifest for the SS Californian when this happened, because I tried. But it's an interesting note that people say that they could have erased all evidence, you know what I mean? So all this backs up the claim that the Californian was intended as a rescue ship for the deliberately sank Titanic.
Or the original Olympic.
Right. The official story is that the Californian was sailing to Boston from somewhere in England, I forget, with no passengers.
None.
But you can't find the cargo list. I wish I could find the cargo list. When it sent iceberg warnings out to surrounding ships, including the Titanic, which was recorded as being a confirmed message. I know you had some shit to talk about.
There was multiple communications actually between the Californian and the Titanic that night. There was a little bit of a beef between the radio operators, actually, because the Titanic was sending so many messages at this point before it hit
the guy was just like quoted saying like, shut up, I'm dealing with these he was like backlogged with messages.
He had backlogged messages, so he was just like telling this dude like, shut the fuck up.
If you look it up, it's quoted as him saying like, shut up, I'm dealing with this.
Exactly. At the same time, the captain of the ship, the Californian, he's fucking asleep. And he's saying that he didn't know what he was supposed to do because here he is giving out iceberg warnings. They're stopped because of the icebergs, and he goes to sleep for a little bit.
Yeah, right. That's what I had next to say is that the Californian, shortly after it sent out those iceberg messages, it encountered a large ice field. This is the official story.
Yes.
And decided to stop the ship and wait for the morning so they could see better. And proceed. Yet again giving credit to the claim that it was sent there to rescue people from deliberately sinking the deliberately sinking Titanic, man.
Exactly. It was told to go there and wait, but it's convenient to say in the official narrative because of this ice field that they had stopped.
And while this like cocksucker captain of the ship is sleeping, the first and third officers, if I remember correct, testified in court after the fact to seeing the lights of the Titanic shooting up their flares and shit 5 miles away. 5 miles. That's fucking...
Think about that, man. So there's two boats now, one within 5 miles and one within 7 miles of this ship, but nobody is doing absolutely anything about it.
You know what's ironic as fuck? The Californian was sunk by a German U-boat. Like off the shores of Greece or something in 1915. Like,
Wow.
all these motherfuckers got sunk back in the day.
These are not coincidences.
So we have a couple more minutes here. Let's talk about the Titanic aftermath.
Yeah, definitely.
After 30 years of scientists going down there to check this shit out, what do they know?
Not much.
They claim to know what happened, but it keeps changing.
There's always new documentaries, Titanic, the new archives and shit like that.
What I think is that they'll never be able to know what fucking happened.
No.
And every year that goes by, the chances of them knowing what happened gets smaller and smaller because there's a bacteria living inside what they call rusticles.
Fucking it up,
which are
man.
these like icicles of
Rust.
fucking rust eating away at the fucking Titanic, and they say that it will completely and conveniently, I say, turn the entire fucking Titanic into a pile of fucking iron ore in the next like 100 years.
Isn't that perfect too for fucking Morgan? Because JP Morgan was doing so much with steel, and iron ore is what makes steel. And now the boat's going to become iron.
You know what
ore.
I'm inclined to think? I think they might be like develop those bacteria and put them down there just to destroy the fucking evidence. And you heard it here first at Revival Radio. Make sure you hit subscribe. Like that, it's eroding all the evidence and silencing all questions.
Look.
Of what actually happened.
I'm just saying, if in 100 years J.P. Morgan's descendants find a new source of iron in the North Atlantic right over where the Titanic sank, you know why.
Facts. So let's wrap all this shit up, and I think we got another minute. What do you guys think why did it happen? Do you think it was an insurance scam? Was it for the Federal Reserve, the creation of the Federal Reserve?
I think we should talk about this when we come back, because there's a couple points that I want to make. So I think
this is a very interesting conversation.
We'll take a break, and then, so we're not rushed to give our feelings on it. Revival Radio. We'll be right back.
You bitch.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Revival Radio, guys.
Yeah.
Myself, Dolan. Brain. Rich Steve.
CMASS.
Only facts here, guys.
All up in your ass like a wedgie, bitch.
Only facts.
So, okay, right before we went into break, you were asking us what we thought. Is this, a conspiracy because they wanted the insurance money? Was this a conspiracy because they wanted to eliminate some people for the creation of the Federal Reserve? What do you think it is? So, Dolan, let's start with you, man. How do you feel about this? You were the one who brought this theory to the table.
How much time you got? We could talk about this for an hour, what we think fucking happened. Break it down.
Guys, I honestly just think it was a combination of, like, all the scenarios we were talking about.
How did you find this theory? Because, like I said, you brought this up to us. How did you find it?
I just stumbled across it.
Okay.
Probably about, like, 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay.
Just by seeing, like, a picture or meme.
Huh.
Like,
Memes.
And it made me research.
So you think that it was a combination of the two?
Yeah.
What?
Memes serve a very good purpose, man.
Definitely
killing two birds with one stone.
Yep.
Mentality, basically.
How would you
Makes
bring
sense
this
to
up?
me.
What do you think?
At first I thought it was an insurance scam.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't hear about the Federal Reserve shit till later in my research. Like,
Right.
I had no idea that the Titanic was sunk deliberately going into this episode, man.
Yeah.
Which made it really exciting for me because I love these, like, mysteries and shit. Like, I think it's tight as fuck. One thing I don't think is tight as fuck is the, how many people I said fucking died.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And you know how many
1,503.
How many more could have lived? The one thing that Dolan had brought up, and I brought it up too, was the locking system. You know, you see in the Titanic movie how when the
electromagnetic locking system.
lower class passengers were trying to get out, and they had that one guy who was fumbling with the key, and he dropped it in the water, and he couldn't get it.
I don't think a key would have done him any good anyway.
It didn't
because
matter.
It's electromagnetically
Well,
sealed.
that's what I'm saying. It didn't matter because that's not what they had on board. This was the first ship of its kind that was using this system.
Right.
So once it all shorted out, that was the electricity. It was an opening. So those lower class passengers were fucked anyway.
Right.
Another thing that's
It's
interesting.
sick, man. Even in the movie Titanic, you can see the difference between the rich people and the poor people, and how the rich people are on the higher decks, the poor people aren't. The rich people get off the fucking ship, the poor people don't.
It's interesting, though, because the way that it's portrayed in the movie is not how it was at all. Where, like, you see the super luxury for the top and then squalor and the fucking Irish jig for the bottom. They still had a servant. They still had 3 different restaurants that they could eat in. They still had nice accommodations in their staterooms.
Shit was nice as fuck.
Very luxurious.
That's
I didn't know that. That's tight.
But that's more to the attraction of why was there only that little amount of people on board?
Right.
If even the lowest of the low were still having, I think there was 1 servant for every 3 people, is the way that it rationed out.
That's not bad.
That's like, this is an attractive ship if you're trying to get to America, but they weren't there.
I mean, to sum up my opinion, I think it was a combination of an insurance scam and to eliminate the opposition to the Federal Reserve so they could get that moving. And probably a whole bunch of other fucking shit that we don't even know about.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Like,
Definitely, man.
The whole point that we're trying to make here is that we don't fucking know anything.
No.
We want to question everything.
We want the facts.
We do want the fucking facts, man. I don't think we're going to get it because that's just going to be eroded.
It's going to be gone.
I think I was saying off camera that I think that the elite could have possibly even developed the bacteria that's eating away at this shit. You know what I mean? Anything's possible.
Yeah, definitely.
We know fucking nothing.
I feel pretty much the same way as you do, guys. When I came into it, I did a lot of my research from those conspiracy guys. I watched a couple other videos as well, but probably about 5 hours those conspiracy guys did on this.
What they have to say.
They said pretty much the exact same thing that we're saying, that it makes sense.
So they've reached the same conclusion.
Yeah, that this is
based upon what? Critical thinking?
Exactly. And the fact that this...
Someone who's not controlled by fucking someone have a vested interest.
This is a capitalist, man. This is one of the cutthroat capitalists of the early 1900s who is going to make sure that he gets all of his money back. If he invested...
JP Morgan?
Yeah, if he invested...
And his name is still known worldwide today.
If JP Morgan invested in White Star Lines and he has a boat that sinks, God damn it, he's going to get the insurance money by hook or by crook. The fact that
he doesn't care about the fucking 1,500 people that died.
Nothing. All he cares about is the fact that his $3 million is back in his pocket. And now, hey, I can get rid of some of the competition for the Federal Reserve. That's a bonus, man. You know, when 9/11 fell, you talk about all the different papers and things like that were destroyed as evidence, especially in Building 7.
Evidence.
It's the same type of thing. This is an opportunity. 2 birds with 1 stone, like you said. I don't put it past them.
You know what I thought was kind of interesting? Like Guggenheim and those dudes that were opposed to the Federal Reserve.
Right.
It's documented that they went down with it. Like, his wife got off board and shit. His child got off board. But he went back to his room and he was like, oh, nothing's going to happen. You know what I mean? We're going to sail over here. We're going to get fixed up. It's just a repair. And then once him and his buddies, fucking Isidore Strauss and them other fools,
John Jacob
realized that they were going to go down, guess what happened? It's even portrayed in the fucking movie. They were part of those dudes that were like, remember those dudes that were violent? They weren't those dudes, but they were like part of those dudes. Like the one guy, he just put a rose in his pocket. And he all of them just accepted their fate, man. They were like, okay.
Remember the fucking couple that laid down together in bed? That was a real thing.
They were old, right?
That was a real thing. They laid in bed next to each other.
Man, it's crazy, man. Like, the 1,500 people that died, it's crazy that they were pulling off false flags in fucking 1912 or whatever the fuck. Like,
let me ask you guys a question. This is one that they asked on those conspiracy guys, and I thought it was interesting, so I want to hear your opinion. You know how you were just talking about the violinist and the band that was playing? What do you think would be the worst band to have to listen to as you're going down in the Titanic?
Oh, man.
Like, if you're about to die and you're going down with the ship, but these motherfuckers are still playing on, you're like, God damn it, this is what I have to listen to. Nickelback?
Oh, that's a good one. I would say... What'd you say, Steve?
Oh, I'd probably say... Oh, Limp Bizkit. Fucking listen to Fred Durst.
I'll take Limp Bizkit.
I would take Limp Bizkit over Nickelback.
How about you?
I was going to say, like, Taylor Swift.
Oh, yeah.
The one dude on those conspiracy guys, he said just for the irony of it, he would want it to be Celine Dion.
Too much.
That shit's hilarious.
I'll never let go, Jack.
So everybody, go and do the research. Figure it out for yourself, man. This is a lot of stuff, and it's really interesting. Like, I thought it was going to be kind of when I first heard that this was a conspiracy from those conspiracy guys. But once I actually got into it, like, this shit was fucking interesting, man.
It was, man. I enjoyed this. I'm hoping y'all enjoyed this as well.
This was a fun episode to make.
Leave a comment.
We got a lot of stuff coming up, guys. Whole lot of stuff. Couple shows coming up. February 9th, Brain Cell solo show at the Rusty Nail in Ardmore. Tickets are available now.
Come out.
February 24th down in Baltimore, Maryland at BCW Urban Warfare 2. Tickets are available now. Come see CMASS. We will also have that night, because it is the day after it comes out, Murder by Numbers for sale for you to get.
Get your pre-orders on the t-shirts too.
Pre-orders on the t-shirts, pre-orders on the album. Both are available now. Go on our Facebook for more information, or Instagram at official CMASS. Back up and running. Finally, next week we are going to be filming a new music video coming up this Saturday. We're going to try to get in for Murder by Numbers. Next week, episode 40. Episode 40 up in this bitch. We got a whole lot of stuff coming. Be sure to subscribe. Be sure to click like, comment, share, all that shit. Dolan, you have anything else you want to say?
Just go out and support your local artists.
Yeah.
Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
Do any way to promote CMASS and have a good night.
Do the knowledge, man.
Much love, everybody.
Revival Radio, episode 39.
Peace.
My state of mind is not okay. I repeat, my state of mind is not okay. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Mayday, mayday, mayday. Say your last goodbyes, cause I'd rather be sick than on your side. I'm not okay, I'm not alright. Every day in the dark of night, hid away, locked out of sight. Like the moon, I eclipse the light. Dark side, aligned with the misfits. I know I exist, but I'm twisted. I don't believe in you like I don't believe in Christmas. Solipsis, persistently sadistic. This pain won't vanish, this pain won't go. Now this pain is all I know. Had it with people, had it with the show. Going bad, so evil, so cold, unfriendly. Yeah, I'm not the nicest. I gave up on trying to fight it. I'm friendly, I'm not the nicest. Just leave me to my own devices.
Please tell me I'm not okay. This pain needs to go away. Locked in the dark of my, locked in the dark of my mind. Please tell me I'm not okay. This pain needs to go away. Locked in the dark of my mind. Locked in the dark of my mind. Stuck up in the head, right stuck up in the nightlight. 10 shots deep and being sober is a far sight. Far sight from my little dreams, far sight from what I need to be. Drain these veins just to let them see I died for what was meant to be. A wilted rose, beauty in the death of it. I'm walking down this road, even to put you in the deficit. Death of a hater with a mark in the sand. Bloodstained carpet with my heart in my head. I think I got an illness for this game. All these fake fucks and all that phony slang. All the fashion statements and all of the chains. And all the words they speak, but they never meant a thing. Tell me that I'm sick, tell me that I'm wrong.